right, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming out. So we're going to get started. My name is Dwayne, with the founder of BC Hop Company. Thank you very much for taking some time to come taste an experimental beer with us here today. Obviously, we'd hoped to do a head-to-head version, but you heard the story. We ran out of beer when there was a leak in our jockey box. So if you'd like to do the head-to-head version, you have to dip out of the jockey box, and at your own risk. I don't recommend it. So what we're trying to do here is give you an opportunity to experience an experimental beer. Fortunately, the experimental beer didn't get lost. So we only lost our Hallertau head-to-head beer. I'm going to get Nick to explain a little bit what we did. Nick Boski here is with his own consulting company and used to be with the Phillips and did a great job helping us up with Lumberjacked, a beer that Phillips released a few years ago. And so that's how we got to know Nick. And thank you for all your help on this. Tell the boys what we're doing.
So this is kind of the end of a project that started back in May where Dwayne had a hop and he said, Nick, I want to know what this hop is. What does it taste like? What's the organoleptic kind of property? And obviously you can't have a sample size of n=1, so we had to figure out a way to make sure that we could get this beer out to the brewing community and see what people think about the hop. So it started with a number of brews at KPU. If you guys haven't been, you should really check out KPU and see their brewing lab. It's pretty awesome. They've got a 2 hectoliter 4-vessel system, and I think those brewers have it pretty easy compared to the rest of them in the province. But what we did in brewing all these different beers, we brewed ales, we brewed lagers, we dry hopped them, we didn't. We used all kinds of different yeast strains, and what we found is that we started to get closer to understanding what this hop was and where it would best be suited. So after that kind of first round of brews and tasting, we decided that, yeah, you know what, it's not a super jammy, really fruity or kind of like tropical, otherworldly hop, but it does do some things really, really well. So, which is why we put it up against that other brewer that sadly you won't be able to taste, which is, grab a seat, guys.
Grab a seat, guys. We got open chairs here.
Yep.
We'll bring you out a beer. Don't be shy.
So what we did is we said, you know what, this is a great hop for reasons I'm not going to say because I don't want to sway you in any way before you taste the beer. But we thought that this would be the perfect venue for BC brewers and people in the industry to really sample this beer and give their own organoleptic analysis of what they think it is. Meaning that at the end of the day, when you go and if you end up contacting Dwayne and you want to purchase some of this hop, you know that this group of people that are here tasting it have pretty good palates. I mean, we make some of the best beer, I think, in the world in British Columbia. And it is an opportunity for BC brewers to really put their stamp on it and say, what is this BC hop? What does it taste like? And will it work in my beers? So that's really the goal of this at the end of the day. It's an organoleptic analysis. Everybody's palate's different. There might be hugely different responses all the way along, but that's okay. That's part of this. And it's, I think it's pretty exciting that brewers get to actually, say, firsthand what this hop grown in their backyard really tastes like.
And let's talk about the recipe. What kind of recipe we put together here?
So it's a lager. It was 12% Plato lager. It was fermented with 3470, so your pretty neutral German lager strain. Grist bill was pale malt and about 10% carapils. Other than that, there was no other malts added. We did a T60 hop edition, very, very light hop edition at T60. We did a 10-minute hop edition, and then a pretty substantial Whirlpool edition, which I think was around 700 grams for 2 hex of beer. Because it was brewed at KPU, it was all under pretty strict conditions. They've got really great technology and super knowledgeable brewers that help put this together. My assessment, it's free of any flaws and really should kind of give you an idea of what the beer tastes like. So at the end of the day, the goal wasn't to make the perfect lager. It was to produce a beer that would give you an idea of what the hop is all about so that you can figure out ways to use it in your own brewery if you so choose.
And there's an imaginary second beer beside you that has Hallertau in it. So as you're drinking this actual beer, think about Hallertau and wonder if it compares. Because that's all you can do, because we lost the beer in the jockey box. So it's kind of an amazing thing.
Noob move.
So the guys, so our apologies for the technical problem, but really what we want from you here today is something you're really great at, and that is having an opinion. Please give us your opinion, have a sip. If you want some more, let us know. We've got crackers and water as needed, and we'll talk to you in a few minutes.
Any questions before you get going?
Oh, yeah.
No? Great.
How about it? Can I come on? We see what they thought.
Yeah, sure. Everybody done? You're not cheating off your neighbor, are you?
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, I guess what I'd like to do is just open it up because I mean we're all used to talking about beer and talking about the flavors and aromas that we pick up. This is maybe a little bit one of the harder tastings that you've done because it's subtle, right? I mean, it's still a lager. It's not an in-your-face IPA. But I'd love to hear what somebody has to say about just first impressions, aroma, flavor, fineness of bitterness, whatever you have. Throw it out there, and maybe we can get a little discussion going. Yeah.
In terms of flavor, just because I've brewed with this hop a lot, it reminds me of a spicier version of Stewart Golding, like CLA Golding. Really subtle, nice light floral note to it that I got. Obviously, everyone tastes something different, but
Sure.
I got a nice light floral, sweet floral note and a slight spice.
Okay. That's not an uncommon suggestion or kind of taste that other people have picked up in the last two sessions. Anybody else?
Was this the only tasting today that was a lager, or were the other tastings lager as well?
They were
No,
the
they're
same
the same.
beer. The other tastings had the Hallertau that wasn't in the cooler though. That was the only difference. So there was a head-to-head, I guess, against Hallertau before.
We still have Hallertau in a jockey box, but
Yeah, it's about 0.5% now.
Super cold.
Yeah, super cold.
All styles of beer were lager, or were the ones previous before like pales?
So we brewed in the trials during the summertime at KPU. We brewed ales and we brewed lagers, and we used an English ale yeast. We did American ale. We kind of did the whole gamut, and obviously those different yeasts and how you treat it in your breweries can influence the final beer at the end of the day. Just like the way you use it, your bitterness experience might be quite different from the next guy, especially if you're doing things like cooling in your kettle before your whirlpool strike or whatnot. So yeah, we saw that huge range. We just decided to narrow in on other comparable lager, preferred hop varietals, because it just seemed to match those flavor profiles, and we thought it'd make a good substitute for something like Hallertau.
at the end of the day, we're trying to figure out what does this hop substitute for well, in what category, what part of the catalog does this hop fit? It's not a Galaxy, it's not a Citra. We know that. We already go Cascade and Centennial for your IPAs. So what is this hop going to do in the profile for flavors, and what is really the organoleptic study that that's why we got Nick on board, was to do a bit of a study and to do this result. We tried to get brewers out to KPU to do this exercise, and that proved harder than finding the right boyfriend for my daughter. So it's easier to get you guys in the room here where you can really try it out. And apologies that we couldn't give you the Hallertau head-to-head. But is it, when you try this hop, is there a style that really comes to mind? English bitter, ESB?
Thought it would work well in a saison.
Saison, yeah.
It's a very clean sort of light hop to me. I thought it would pair well with like a pepperiness of the saison.
I agree completely with the Saison. I also thought the beer.
Wit beer?
Yeah,
Yeah, we heard that
that's been
today,
echoing
yeah.
a lot. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
good,
interesting.
good consistent palates in this
Yeah.
province. That's for sure.
So I'm not hearing lager though. I'm not hearing Pilsner from folks. But what do you guys think about lagers and Pilsners? Where does this fit for you guys?
I had Pilsner written down.
Yeah. Too sweet, you felt.
If you're not doing lager and Pilsner, it's not a lager and Pilsner problem, it's not a craft beer.
Of course.
No, fair, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I'm okay with that answer, yeah.
I got a fair amount of lemon and lime, and I think it would pair well with other kind of citrusy hops like Alma or lemon drop in an ISA.
And there's one thing that I have noticed is that it plays well with others. It adds a really good foundation, but this is a smash, obviously, and we wanted to do that for this purpose. But I do believe that there are recipes that it would work really well in, where you're adding in, a Citra, a lemon drop, or a Cascade to give it some additional flavor.
There's only been about 3 or 4 people that have said melon, that have mentioned melon.
I got a little
melon
melon.
stuff is before you cut the melon apart, you smell the rind.
Oh, okay.
Right?
How about the quality of bitterness? This beer is pretty bitter. I can't give you the exact IBUs because we didn't measure it, and I don't like to do it just based on math. especially on a system that I'm not very familiar with, like the one at KPU. But in terms of bitterness, I know it's definitely on the bitter end for a lager. But how about the fineness of bitterness? Is there any comment on that? Anybody kind of say whether it's astringent or clean, or any impression at all?
Very,
Yeah.
it wasn't a harsh bitterness, like it didn't light the sides of the mouth on fire, so.
Right.
Yeah, like you said, it's bitter for a lager.
Yep.
But in other styles, it would fit perfectly. Like,
It
sets
branches
it on
out
it, it'd be
between the
nice.
bitterness and the just almost perfect. It's right on the edge.
Right.
Sitting on the Christmas.
Right. What was the alpha, Dwayne? Was it around 9?
Yes. Yeah.
So I mean, take that with, whatever it means to you. 9% alpha acid hop. A lot of ways to use it, but
Yeah. Awesome. Any other questions or thoughts or comments for the room? We'll let you guys get back to the broader selection of beer downstairs.
yeah, huge thanks for sharing your thoughts and opinions about this. I mean, this is it's going to help give Dwayne some information so that if you approach him and there's a hop that's for sale like this one, you'll know what you're getting because it's been measured by your peers and you know what to expect, right? So I think it's pretty cool.
At the end of the day, we're all about supporting family farms, and we're here to serve the craft beer industry. And we want you to have the opportunity to access some hops that are a little bit unique and a little bit different. We of course have the big C's, your Cascade, Centennial, Chinook. We grow locally here, and some Cashmere as well. And we can access hops from around the world. But as far as supporting local family farms, we'd love to get those big C's into your breweries and add this hop to it as well. And we'll be working with What's Brewing to announce what this hop was and what the recipe was, and we'll get that recipe out to everybody and work with you to get it into some of your beers.
Speaking of which, if you do want the recipe, if you have a card, just throw it on the desk and we'll pick it up when we pick up the forums.
I would be curious to know though, how many people are actually saying what they're saying to be polite versus how many people actually really feel on the
I think it was. Yeah, no, it's fair. It's fair. We
Yeah, sure.
we're gonna look for both. Yeah, I mean it's not the be all and end all hop of the world, but it grows really well in this region, and something that we can actually produce a quality product of on our farms. Sir,
Do you guys have the ranges of cohumulene and myrcene for this hop?
I do. Yes, I can get to that. Yeah, for sure. I can look them up after this, but yeah, I do. The cohumulene and myrcene, the fractional the oils? Yes, I do have a fractional oil
It is
analysis.
myrcene dominant. I think it was around 40 to 50% of total oils it was myrcene.
Yeah. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time and your
Thank you.
honest opinions.
Thank you. Well, now we got to see